Remember, warriors, it matters not from whence the blood flows, only that it flows.
What's going on, guys? Run it back with another replay, and it's going to be a Khorne versus Dark Elves showdown, but I am not helming the Blood God's forces this day. Today, it is Dustman. This is actually a practice match from the RTK Civil War event. We had, we were all preparing, getting ready, and everybody was playing a bunch of different matchups, just helping people out. And Dustman told me that he brought this build as a meme, and that just offends me and my sensibilities. And you might get a sense of why once the game is over. But we've got double Skull Cannon here. I'm a huge Skull Cannon defender. I firmly believe that they're excellent units. Khorne, Valkia, Blood Reaper, and then a horde of Bloodletters, 3 regulars, and 3 exalteds, including the ROR Hellforged Host. Crazy stuff here, honestly. You'll love to see it. Bloodletters are an excellent unit. They can definitely do well. Dark Elves can be a little bit challenging for Khorne at times for a variety of reasons that I'll talk about over the course of the game. Lokir, Fellheart in the Sky, Sorceress of Death with Spirit Leech and Doom and Darkness. Bringing the Doom and Darkness to leadership bomb the units that rely on Frenzy. Funnily enough, though, there's absolutely nothing here that relies on it. Valkia and Khorne, I guess, but they're not nearly as dependent on it as Chaos Warriors are. Blackguard of Nagaron and the Helibroni with the Charybdis and 3 Scourge Runner Chariots is going to round out the army here for the Dark Elves. And we're just going to get right into it, man. Lokir posting up over the middle objective, everybody kind of standing around, deciding what they want to do first. And we've got the Scourge Runner Chariots taking the biggest fight. Skull Cannon doing a little bit of dodging and weaving. Really good micro here from Dustman. Turning and firing with it and getting a nice shot in there. Actually damaging 2 of the units. Taking almost 1,000 HP off of the Scourge Runners here. And see, the thing about this is that the missiles don't one-shot Scourge Runner Chariots, but they pierce all of the units. Or all of the models in the unit, I guess I should say. So the amount of damage that it can actually land in here is pretty substantial. It can layer through multiple units at once, and like I said, get you about 1,200 HP taken off of 1 unit at times. So killing 1 model of the Scourge Runner Chariots, taking out one of these guys is pretty big because they are pretty dependent on their weapon strength from their pretty small unit to actually get some serious damage done. So 25% reduction. Pretty nice stuff there. The other Skull Cannon lining up shots out here. 16 models killed. All of those off of these Blackguard, man. Blackguard of Nagaron are the perfect elite infantry target for Skull Cannons. You can get nice arcing shots down the length of the entire unit when you do stuff like this. You just position it way out on the flank. And Skull Cannons are a lot more accurate than people give them credit for, man. They're a little janky at times. They definitely need to be a lot closer than their max range to do well. But Dustman obviously been paying attention to my videos, getting some nice shots in with that, and a fat Sloughtnir just obliterates the Helibroni in the first few seconds of the match. Wrecking these guys. I mean, literally shattering them in the opening minutes is just about as good of an infantry engagement as you can ask for under any circumstance, honestly, and more overarching fire from the Skull Cannons. This one getting a nice shot in, blowing some elves right off of that disgusting weapons platform. You know, it's not often that you see the Khorne Daka doing as well as it is, but here we are. We're enjoying it for what it's worth. More Skull Cannons shots, unfortunately hitting just some of the Bloodletters here. And the Charybdis with the Abyssal Howl actually lowering the leadership on these guys. I guess bringing the leadership debuffing does work pretty nicely against demons. For that reason, demonic instability is pretty punishing after all. So also not a bad application of it either. But I feel like the Charybdis and Lokir here, with their leadership debuffing effects, could be doing a little bit better against mortals. Just because the mortals actually terror route, demons do not. Despite only having the fear, it's from the demonic tooltip here, you can see immunity to terror. Means that they don't route despite not having the traditional means of resisting those terror routes, which is awesome and kind of nullifies the blob here. Essentially, you know, you're bringing Abyssal Howl and also using Merciless Slaver to get minus 14 on the debuffs. Khorne has already killed the poor Sorceress, so no Spirit Leeches and no Doom and Darkness. Just immediately taking out all of the access to the nasty tools that the Dark Elves are trying to bring here. And these Skull Cannons continuing to do nasty work. 1100 on this guy, already paid for itself. Gets a little more damage in there, 1360. And more Scourge Runner Chariots going down, man, taking disgusting damage from those shots. Skull Cannons definitely doing more than enough here to pay for themselves and put Khorne in a winning position. A great breath attack from Lokir. He's gotten a couple of those. 1700 value on him, and it's down to him. The Charybdis here, basically, in the late game, desperately trying to get the dub here. Skull Cannon does miss its shot on that unit on its way out. This Skull Cannon here continuing to fight a little longer, getting some heals, getting some extra ammo. Definitely going to be able to provide a little bit more value into the late game. Excuse me, guys. Gotta love Skull Cannons, man. They just do so many fun things. Even after they're out of ammo, as I've said, they just ride into combat, get Gore Feast and Skull Feast going, and just chasing down these damn Scourge Runner Chariots, man. Crazy stuff. You can see just gadding it down as it goes. 1700 value on the Skull Cannon out here, completely dominating the skirmish fight with these two pieces. Beautiful stuff from Dustman. And, you know, I think if this build had come in without the Skull Cannons, it would be a completely different game. And the Dark Elves would probably be dominating it, all things considered. They had some pretty heavy metal infantry that wouldn't do too hot against the Bloodletters for sure, but it would give Lokir more time to get some more damage in, good Starkle charging. He could do some excellent work. If you're not getting the burst damage from the Skull Cannons, I mean, they took out some a decent number of models here, as you can see. 37 and 47 models killed, and that's either all on Scourge Runners or the Blackguard. That's a lot of high-value targets to be shooting into and getting damage on. I think without them, Dark Elves would have had a little bit longer to work with. They'd have been able to get some more Dooms and Darkness off. Probably would have been able to break leadership on a couple of these very healthy Exalted Bloodletters who are out here. Just beautiful stuff from Khorne for the late game. Huge infantry formation using Valkia to chase down the Charybdis, getting those nice sweeping attacks in here. She's got some really cool animations, and she's perfectly positioned to get this thing off the field and basically leave Lokir with nothing left. You know, Khorne can tend to struggle with big fight characters like this. You know, Lokir's got some pretty good buffs and debuffs available for himself. Helm of the Kraken with the extra 10 melee defense, as long as he's a melee and a heal. It's pretty gnarly. Khorne struggles against characters that can both fight and heal in combat. So, being able to ignore him and kill the rest of the army and slowly pick down the other big target on the Dark Elf roster here is beautiful, beautiful stuff. The kind of position that you want to be in the late game here. Valkia is going to be able to fly back and link up with all of her forces. She does not have Demon Shield here. Honestly, I feel like if you're going to be bringing Skull Cannons, you don't really need Sleipnir. Having said that, Dustman did get an absolutely filthy one in this game and deleted the Hellebronai. As you might have seen, they did shatter after getting hit by that. But, I still feel like you can do the same thing with the Skull Cannons. Skull Cannons, they did go down out here to the prowess of, you know, the merciless one here, Lokir Fellheart. He's looking to get back in this game, maybe trying to get after Valkia, who's circling around looking for an opportunity to get some damage on the Charybdis. You know, that is the perfect target for her to fight. She'll do very well against it in combat. But as I've been trying to get to, I think that Demon Shield is their best ability. The one thing that Khorne tends to suffer from is if they lose their leadership at any point in the battle, it can get pretty hazardous for them. They really cannot afford to lose leadership on their units. So, being able to bring a ability that makes her invulnerable and gives her an opportunity to fight targets like Lokir for free is pretty disgusting. It's the kind of thing that I think is necessary to bring on her at all times, just about. There's maybe one or two matchups where we can get away not bringing it, but I think that Sloupnir is the go-to cut here if you're gonna be cutting any abilities. I mean, it's not that great against Blackguard. They have crazy armor, and it does decent work regardless because of its good AP on it. But it's better against unarmored targets. I feel like you could probably just save some money. Just don't bring the Hellforged Toast, maybe, even. You know, they're a great unit, but regular Exalted Bloodletters are usually more than enough. I think these guys are a little bit more flavorful than is necessary here. And you can see Valkia landing in here does get a nice hit on the Charybdis. Takes a little bit of health off of it, but does not break its leadership, and now she's in a terrible situation. She is getting a lot of leadership debuffing effects applied to her. And she is not immune to psychology without Frenzy active, so she does get terrified here by the Charybdis. She's just getting absolutely warped down right now. Obliterated by this gigantic monster, and she's struggling to escape right now. With the Terror Route, she's kind of getting bounced around, and Dustman not getting an order in time before she is routed. And she is probably going to be dying here, potentially, which would be even more catastrophic. Having that -16 debuff applied immediately to their units would not be good. Last few of the Blackguard of Nagrand are dealt with by these Bloodletters, which is really nice. No more infantry presence for the Dark Elves, and Khorne is racking up the tickets right now. Gonna fast forward through this a little bit here. Just while they're maneuvering and jockeying for position, Lokir getting a nice charge in here on the Exalted Bloodletters, doing some good work, good damage. Locus of Abjuration does get popped here. It's a cute ability. I don't think it's very good. I think if it got turned into a passive and it just added another 20% passively without being an activatable ability, that would be where it would be best. You might see Blood Reapers getting chosen a little more often if that were the case. As it is, 25 seconds for 66% spell resist. Really not that crazy. Just not too many situations where it's super applicable, I guess, for what's it called? Oh my god, Soul Stealer. The Dark Elf Soul Stealer ability. It's a very powerful spell. I guess it mitigates the damage from that, but it doesn't prevent the heals from going in, which is usually what's more scary for Khorne. You know, Malekith is pretty unstoppable with Soul Stealer if he's allowed to do what he wants. Charybdis does go down here, just completely obliterated by the Bloodletter Swarm. The Blood Reaper following that up, they're getting after the Scourge Runner Chariot, and the Scourge Runner not able to hold its leadership. I believe what happened here, Lokir was nice and healthy, but I believe the Chariot broke, and then army losses kicked in, a little unfairly, I think. Yeah, I mean, Lokir can't cap an objective, so I guess it makes sense for army losses to kick in there, but Lokir could have done a lot of damage and really controlled the battlefield. If this were not Conquest and this were land battle, the battle probably would have continued. Lokir being on the dragon, he can just push in and out of these infantry blobs for free, which is a little gamey. So I am kind of glad that it does end here on a Khornate victory. Always going to take one for the Blood God. And some Skull Cannon action coming in and doing as well as it did is just wonderful stuff. And nice to see somebody using them the way that they should be used. I think it just took time and is going to take more time for people to pick up on how good Skull Cannons are. They're very good at a couple of things, very bad at other things. Can't really use them as you would typical artillery pieces, but they don't really deserve to be used that way. They're very good at disrupting infantry formations. They're good at shooting infantry from afar, especially elites, where you just get free value, you kill models, and they can't be healed up more often than not. That's just pure profit, and you laugh all the way to the bank with those guys. So super hyped to see some more play from Dustman in the future on the Blood God. I think he's got some serious chops here. I think he can definitely pull it off, and I for one would welcome him with open arms into the bloody fold, so to speak. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Seeing some Lokir Fellheart action. He did great, by the way. 3,300 value. Could have carried the game if it hadn't come down to points and the objective play at the end there. Scourge Runner Chariots didn't even do abysmally, which kind of tells you just how important the Skull Cannons were to winning this game for Khorne, because they are basically what shut down the Scourge Runner Chariots in the late game. Pushing them out of position in the early going so they can't just run over the Bloodletters, and then just getting shot down over time by the Skull Cannons was awesome. Really mitigated the effectiveness of these guys. They'd probably ended up with like 1,400 or 1,500 value each. Instead, you got like 500, 1,100, 1,000, barely paying for themselves. And, I mean, Scourge Runner Chariots aren't as good as they used to be in Warhammer 2. They've been power crept a little bit, but I do think that they might be a little underrated. They honestly function similarly to how Skull Cannons do. They don't get the ammo recharge and health recharge that Skull Cannons do. Don't have the same burst on their individual models, but over time they can seriously do some serious work against armored targets, infantry with their melee attacks and good charge bonus. Then against Skull Cannons and Minotaurs especially. Scourge Runners are very good at shooting down Minotaurs, but I've been talking long enough about this. There's just so many ins and outs to this game that it's honestly overwhelming at times. It's just so nice. Warhammer multiplayer is about as perfect as you can ask for in terms of complexity. And actually being able to pull off the tactical positioning and plays that is required to pull out high-level games like this. Torsen and Dustman being really good players. Takes a lot of effort. It's very rewarding stuff. Can also be kind of discouraging at times, though, so it's a give and take. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see y'all later. Take care. GG's. Peace.